In this video, I'm going to give a general overview on visual metaphors, and then I'll create a separate video with a demo included. A metaphor is a figure of speech that makes an implicit, implied, or hidden comparison between two things that are unrelated, but which share some common characteristics. So you could say that that person is as strong as a tree, right? So we're making a comparison between this person and a tree, and we get a better sense of what it means to be strong because we have all sorts of associations that belong to the strength of a tree, right? So, what are the benefits? Metaphors are unexpected. They transcend their literal interpretation of the individual objects that they're comparing, and they make us think with our imagination and with our senses. So, they're used in advertising all the time. So, let's look at some juxtaposition. This is a fine artist named Joseph Cornell. As designers, we've got a particular problem to solve, but this is important because the surrealists were the first to really take juxtaposition of images or fusion of images together in disparate ways that help to transcend their meaning. So this is Joseph Cornell, and he would put objects and pieces of paper inside boxes. And by putting them next to one another, they start to make new meaning, or at least to allude to more poetic expression. Here's an ad. This kind of covers, this is not only juxtaposition by putting this skincare product on the beach, but this is also fusion that they belong in the same environment. And we get a better idea of, wow, look at what this does. It puts shade on all of us. All right. This is a guy named John Baldessari, who's a fine artist from LA and more contemporary than Joseph Cornell, but in essence, a surrealist in that he puts images next to one another to create meaning. We are pattern seeking. That's how we learn language. And so we're constantly looking for relationships. If we see two things together, we're trying to make what's the connection between these two things. If there is none, we don't get anything from it. But if it triggers another relationship that has meaning, then we're interested. It's like a little puzzle of sorts, metaphors are. Okay, and fusion is where they're integrated together. So listen to your heart. Obviously, we're listening through these particular instruments, and we've got a heart. Now, they chose these horns. Why? They could have chosen a cello or a drum set, right? Or something like that. But these horn, I'll call it piping. I don't know what that's actually referred to, but like the arteries from our heart makes perfect sense. Now they're really fused because this mimics a lot of the visual shapes, right, that belong to the heart. Another one, very clever. This is a little hard to read, but this is from a Wired magazine. It's a Twitter icon and a guillotine from the French Revolution. Waking up his heart. So you can imagine in this, if you're an advertiser and you're going to go, okay, we've got to figure out this waking up is hard. We're going to write down all the things about waking up. The sun's coming out of the window, and you're listing them all right here. And then on the other side, what are things that are difficult, right? Da 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 da. Lifting weights is difficult. And they found the same shape for the alarm clock that belongs to the shape of a barbell. So it was a great integration or fusion of those two different ideas as well as objects. Another very clever one. We get it right away. Beware the heat. This is from a series of posters called Green Patriot posters. They're all about climate change, but very clever understanding about nature of forestry and us humans in the climate. Another one from the same series. It's an illustrator named Brad Holland. and he would do surrealistic images that were illustrations for editorial for magazines and newspapers. This is Magritte. He's a surrealist, and he was famous for juxtaposing various images together. We've got the chimney, we've got the fireplace, and we've got the train coming out. And what's the relationship is the smoke, right? That would be related. So there's some kind of connection between the two. And replacement. This is where you take one thing and you put it in the shape of another or a meaning. So we've got this Who Killed America's Newspapers. This replaces carrion, right? Something that's dead where a vulture would feed upon it. Burger King puts this in the shape of an egg. Here we've got, if you can see what's going on within the needle, and this car has threaded the needle. And what is the needle made up of? All these different famous sites, right, in Paris. So we know that Paris, getting around in Paris is so much easier with this smart car, right? This is very clever to put these together so that we suddenly understand, oh yeah, this is cool. On little city streets in Paris, we can just get around. Think about any other way to do that. It's very difficult to get that all together and so simply. And that's what a metaphor allows you to do. Here's a McDonald's, stay up late at night. And they, of course, taken their M and put it in these raccoon eyes. Okay, on to the demo.